Shalom, halalyam Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well and labor in the word and doctrine. Shalom lebachaya, peace to the elect. The moon is the sign of feasts. This is Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And halalyam said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And halalyam made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and halalyam set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from darkness, and to divide the light from the darkness. And halalyam saw that it was good. In the evening and the morning, the fourth day. So you go into this, when you see God in Genesis 1 and 14, the word there is halalyam. They will say Elohim. If you've got a notepad there, it's the Strong's H430. Again, they'll say Elohim. There's an Allah, a Yah, and a Ma. Halalyam. Halalyam. That means plural powers. Like when you have Psalm 82 and 6, it says, I have said ye are gods. I have said ye are gods. That word there is halalyam. It also goes into the word judges in English. It can go into God or gods, as in idols. It can go into gods, as in Moses was made as a god. I can't remember the phrasing exactly, but made a god into Pharaoh. So it says, there would be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and there would be let to be made for signs, for seasons, and for days and years. And that's what we're looking at. So when you go into this understanding on the moon is the sign of the feast. Okay, so you have, well, concerning that, halalyam as well. You have Job 38 and 7. When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of power shouted for joy. You have Psalm 136 and 7. To him that made great lights, for his mercy endureth forever. The sun to rule by day, for his mercy endureth forever. The moon and stars to rule by night, for his mercy endureth forever. Isaiah 13 and 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light, the sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And that's concerning the day of the Lord. And then the earth will be punished. It talks in Joel, it talks in Acts about certain signs. That's what it's given for. That's what we just read in Genesis. But a sign that we want to focus on is for example, the Sabbath, or for a feast day. So we'll get that. So this is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter, start 1. Pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven, with its glorious shew. The sun will not appear, declaring that his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. At noon it parcheth the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof? A man burn a furnace is in works of heat. The sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapours, and sending forth bright beams. It dimmeth the eyes. Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment runneth hastily. That was concerning the day. Now listen. Sorry, 43, Ecclesiasticus 43 and 6, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. Certain times will be declared, or a declaration. Look into that word declare. The declaration of times and the sign of the world. Next verse, verse 7. From the moon is the sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name. When you get into the English for the word month, it's munth. It's moon, it comes from moon. It goes back to a cycle in Hashemayim, in the heavens, of what we know as the moon. When you check the word for a month, a moon, chadash. So the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. It says, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. Now I'll zoom in on verse 7, so Sarah at 43. 7 from the moon is the sign of feasts, the light that decreaseth in her perfection. So the moon, first and foremost from that verse, we're told is a sign of feasts. It's the light that decreaseth in her perfection. So if it's decreasing in her perfection, that means in her fullness, that's when it begins to go down. So new moon is when it begins to grow up. You have the two terms of waxing and waning. Go look at that. The moon waxing and waning. So the moon is the sign of feasts. Now go to Leviticus 23 and 1. It said, when Yahawah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Yasharallah, and say unto them concerning the feasts of Yahawah, which ye shall proclaim to be mine. Salaki. Speak unto the children of Yasharallah, and say unto them concerning the feasts of Yahawah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. It's about to tell you the context is the feasts, the holy convocations of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. These are his feasts, it said. The next verse, verse 3, 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahawah in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of Yahawah, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. There you have it, it says feasts. In verse 2 it says that twice. In verse 3 says the Sabbath. Verse 4 says these are the feasts. So even if you tried to say, well, it's about to list this, the feast, but the Sabbath isn't one. Well, clearly the Sabbath is. It's in a feast sandwich, if you like. The verse before says feast, the verse after says feast. So it's clear the context is a feast of the Sabbath, and we have acknowledged it's a feast. And what did the scripture say? Sarah 43 and 7. From the moon is the sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. So how would we know when the Sabbath is? If we weren't to rely on the moon, well, clearly it comes through that. That's the sign of feasts. Otherwise we'd have to trust in a calendar that was given unto we. Okay, so we adopted for, ultimately it came through Rome, but then which is the one that comes up after to make the image of the beast may speak. Okay. We have this scripture, Daniel 7, this is concerning America, so-called. This is out of the 10 horns. There's another kingdom that rises at the 11th horn, which subdues 3 before him. Daniel 7 and 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the time, and times, and the dividing of time. So you have the idea that a certain kingdom would think to change times and laws, but they never really changed the times, as we read in Genesis. We'll get that again. Genesis 1 and 14 said, and halalyam said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. They would merely think to do those things, to change times and laws, because the time was ultimately declared by what? The lights in heaven. And the law, well, what does it say about the law? I think it's Baruch, search that up. So this is the book of, let me just search it up. I think it's Baruch 4:6, it's not Baruch 4:1. There we are. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. And that life that we're waiting on, earnestly desiring, is eternal life. We get that by keeping the commandments of Yahawah and the faith of Yahawashi. And part of this is, where possible, the best of our ability to remain in abiding in the law that abideth forever. This is Revelation 14 and 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahawah and the faith of Yahawashi. This is still part of it. Remembering that the moon, The moon is the sign of feast. Yeah. So that's how we keep our holy days. That's how we recognize the time we're in terms of the literal time. But the spiritual time, that's through prophecy. That's the other, or the word is known as a light. Okay, so that's how we lighten our way in this darkness, in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. But anyway, I pray that was edifying. On to the next one, Lord willing. Shalom to the elect. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Until next time, man. All praises to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Shalom.